What's up everyone, it's Lockongaming here today with a new video, and in today's video we're going to be talking about my top 10 personal favorite weapons in Dead Island 2. Before we get started, if you haven't already, consider subscribing for more gaming guide and ranking content, as well as occasional shorts. For today's list, I'm going to be ranking my personal favorite weapons based on a variety of factors, including usefulness in most situations, ability to handle Apex zombie variants, aesthetic appeal, because it's got to have that drip factor, and of course, fun factor. So the first item on our list is the honorable mention, which didn't quite make the top 10, and that is the party starters, which are the legendary fire brass knuckles found in the game. These weapons provide a very strong fire buildup on enemies, while also dealing a significant amount of stun damage. While these can be extremely fun to use, they are also extremely situational, given that they have a very short reach, which I have found more often than not leaves me exposed to taking quite a bit of zombie damage. Additionally, the fire elemental effect also had a habit of catching me on fire when it spread between zombies, which is made even more of a problem by the weapon's short reach. I mean, if you light yourself on fire, it's not exactly a good situation to be in, especially when health is at a premium. Fire is also one of the weaker elements in the game, as many enemies have a fire variant, which is completely unaffected by the party starters. The bruisers have a fire variant. There's firefighters, which are immune. There's flaming zombies, which are immune. There's the... all of those are immune to fire, so that's not exactly helpful. And for those reasons, I feel like it missed out on the top 10. Starting off the list at number 10, we have the Nailbiter nailgun, which is a unique nailgun that was added as part of the Sola DLC. The weapon comes with a built-in caustic element effect, which is one of the better special elemental effects in the game, as only a couple enemy types have inherent resistance to it and can be kitted to do solid damage versus lone Apex zombies, which is how I have mine kitted out in the gameplay being shown. Now, the only enemies that have resistance to it are the Caustic X-Walkers, the Caustic Slobbers, so the base Slobbers, and I believe there's one other Caustic-type enemy, but any enemy in a hazmat suit generally is immune to it. The weapon also has a really cool design, as you can see by the small smiley face thing on the back of the nailgun. And for me, that's personally really reminiscent of the DedSec art style from Watch Dogs 2. With its pixel bit crush type of look. All of that being said, the weapon does have a very limited ammo pool, as anyone that's used a nail gun in this game can attest. Coupled with not having much of an advantage over the normal nail gun means I can't rate it any higher than 10th on this list. At number 9, we have the unique Hog Roaster cleaver, which was added as part of the House DLC. Now, if there's any item on this list that gets in purely based on how it looks, it is this one. This item is a bit of an oddity, as performance-wise, it's only about as good as an average cleaver. In this gameplay, I'm using the base game version in my original playthrough. I have not actually done the House DLC on New Game Plus, but it should be better because it gets a rarity bump from blue to purple. That being said, the design on this weapon is absolutely immaculate. I mean, you got the roasting pig, you got that turns and has the fire element at the top of the cleaver. Even if you look at the handle of it, it has like a pig hoof. It's perfect. And if it was going purely based off aesthetics, it would absolutely be number 1 on this list. That being said, without having a really good performance for the weapon itself, I can't put it higher than number 9. But you should absolutely pull it out anytime you want to use it when you want to barbecue some Z's. At number 8, we have the Ripper, which it's controversial to be this low on the list, but I'll get to why later. It's a legendary baseball bat with a chainsaw inside it that was added as part of the Sola DLC. It is easily one of the strongest melee weapons in the entire game, and it has a unique feature that as you kill zombies, your attacks get faster, they get more deadly. By the time the chainsaw blade is fully revved up, it will absolutely melt anything you go against. It's also non-elemental, which is generally what you want in the game, because it means you don't have to swap anytime there's a special elemental zombie, and you won't have any that are completely resistant to it. Now, if you are playing currently and you didn't play when the game first came out, or specifically when the Sola DLC first came out, you're probably wondering why this is so low, and the answer to that is it was glitched when it first came out. No, it wasn't a damage glitch or anything. It was an audio glitch, and I might still have tinnitus from how bad the audio glitch was with this. Essentially, when you used it and got it revved up, it would be so loud that it would be louder than any dialogue in the game, any explosions, anything else. It was even louder than my party chat, which I had set as like 60-40 split. And it just pretty much ruined using the weapon at all if you had your headset on. Like, I'd have to take my headset off if I wanted to use the weapon. Because of that, I can't put it higher than 8. I used a lot of the time that I spent using it was when the DLC first came out. So it kind of ruined my opinion of the weapon. So that's why it's at 8. Next up at number 7, we have the Big Shot, which is the legendary grenade shotgun pistol, which anyone who's played the base game probably is unlocked, probably is using quite a bit, because it's unique to Dead Island. It's the only grenade launcher that's found in the main game. We're not talking about the side content from Neighborhood Watch that there is technically an electric grenade launcher in there, but for the base game, it is the only grenade launcher. It also uses shotgun ammo, which is exceedingly good for ammo efficiency, since you're only using 3 grenade shotgun shells per round, which means you got 33 full shots out of this thing, and it has insane AoE for cloud clearing. Pretty much anytime I found myself with hell breaking loose, I would swap to it and just use it to clear some space for some Brady room. That being said, it has one major drawback, and that is it is very bad at targeted damage versus Apex Infecteds. So if I'm targeting say for example, a Mutator, it's going to dump like 15 to 20 rounds just to kill it, which is terrible, terrible efficiency. Because of that, you pretty much only want to use it on crowds, and it's limited in those uses in that regard. So I'm leaving it at number 7 on this list. Coming in at number 6, and this is where we start getting to the really good weapon. We got the Krakatoa, which is the legendary flaming scythe. It looks fantastic. It's a mix between like a witch hex type design mixed with some voodoo elements, and it looks really aesthetically pleasing. It's also extremely good. Has good damage, really good maiming, long range because it is a scythe. It is also fire elemental, so it does do quite a bit of damage to most enemies. I'm leaving it at most there because fire elemental it's the most common elemental in the game for both your weapon types and enemy types, which is very unfortunate. So because of the limited use case, it holds it back quite a bit. It also doesn't have a super massive amount of damage versus Apexes. It's very good versus normal hordes, but Apexes, it leaves a little bit to be desired on quickly taking them out. It's still really good, and it's super viable, easy to get, and at launch this was one of the best fire weapons in the game, so that's worth mentioning. But as of now, I'm keeping it at number 6. Cracking into the top 5, we have the Shark Tooth, which is a unique electric machete. This thing has no right being as good as it is. Its electric effect, for whatever reason, feels way better than any other electric weapon in the entire game, and just shoots out sparks and balls of electricity everywhere. Specifically, the shock bulb effect that occasionally goes out reminds me quite of the Thunderball Fist from Borderlands 2, which was personally one of my all-time favorite weapons in the entire franchise. I remember spending hours farming that weapon on weekends. Due to this, it is a really good mid-game weapon, as you only have to complete a few sets of side quests to unlock it, and they're not locked to the end game, so you can get that and then use it to carry you through until you have all legendaries, which is really good. It's also got a decent looking paint job, but nothing major. The only thing slightly holding it back is it's got a lower durability than I would like, but still a solid weapon to have in your weapon wheel during the end game. At number 4, we have the Blood Rage, which is by far my favorite weapon in the game for a long time, up until I discovered a heavy attack build that I really liked using after the Sola DLC came out. So the main reason that I like this weapon is it does a crap ton of single target damage, and if you're targeting the crit spot, it will melt normal infected, it can melt a lot of special infected. That being said, its AoE and crowd control ability leaves quite a bit to be desired. which does hold it back a lot, and it's also got very low reach, which is another thing that's it was a problem with the party starters. It's a problem here. This doesn't feel nearly as bad because it feels like you have a better lunge with it, and your jabs are a lot. I mean, they're about the same speed as the brass knuckles, but they're not. They hit a lot harder, and there's also a swipe attack that when you do that, it's very, very good. Personally, I have a special perk on this, so that when I strike a zombie in the head with the actual weapon, their head pretty much completely explodes instantly. And I also think the design is really cool because while not custom painted or anything, it looks exactly like the jagged commando knife, IRL, which is a spiral type knife, and I've always been a fan of that knife. I've always wanted to own one. So overall, I love this weapon. Number 4 is a solid spot for it, but number 3 is where we start getting into the good stuff. So in third place, taking up the bronze medal, we have the Emma's Wrath, which is the legendary hammer unlocked from beating the game. This thing is insane. It has great range, actually top tier range for any melee weapon. Pretty much anything in front of you is going to get cleared out or knocked back with heavy attack. It has a special heavy attack that when you stomp a skull, it loads a shotgun shell, which does even more damage and stun. It also looks really cool custom because it's like a hammer mixed with shotguns, and it just has a really unique design. I mean, it's also non-elemental, which is exactly what you want in this game because you don't have to deal with any elemental resistances. Pretty much everything is great with it. It's a master of none as long as you're fine with slow attacks, but it will absolutely wreck everything you're going against. And personally, I have it at 3 because I like the more exotic things at 1 and 2 that fit with my build. But anything between first and third place on this list is pretty much interchangeable and up to the individual person. Coming in with the silver medal in second place, we got the 3 Strikes baseball bat, which I have been hyping since the DLC for New Game Plus launched and I first got this weapon. So it was added as part of the New Game Plus DLC with the unlocking from killing a revenant. Now, aesthetically, the weapon looks very similar to the wild style axe from the original launch game. It does possess a massive advantage over almost any other weapon in this game, and that is because it is a revenant weapon, it has 4 mod slots, which are very good, especially when you have all the mods unlocked, because you can put some really broken combinations on there. And pretty much the way I have mine built is heavy attacks deal like 14,000 damage and can do almost always one-shot a normal infected. They can multi-shot pretty much any other special infected, and they deal a crap ton of stun damage and fire damage. The one downside of this weapon is the fire damage, which once again, always a problem. But of the fire damage weapons, I found this one just wrecks shop the most. You can just take out anything with this on New Game Plus. And especially paired with some explosive perks to make each swing just trigger multiple explosions and knock down zombies is extremely useful. And in number 1, hailing from the Solar DLC, we have the heavy metal guitar axe, which is a very, very just solid weapon from top to bottom. So it's got great damage, great cleaving ability. To be kitted to be one of the best heavy attack weapons in the game that will just cause massive explosions, cut stuff, just a ton of damage. Great swing speed. It's a neutral weapon, so it doesn't have any elements, so you don't have to deal with swapping it. And it also looks really cool. I mean, it's a guitar with an axe built in. I mean, what's wrong? There's nothing wrong with that weapon. That's amazing. It's just one of the coolest concepts for a weapon, and I absolutely love using it, especially when a guitar riff goes off after a heavy attack occasionally. The only minor drawback to it is its low durability, but by the time you reach endgame and have this kind of weapon kitted out, you'll either have other options that you can pair it with, or you can just go from workbench to workbench. But those are my top 10 favorite weapons in Dead Island 2. So what is your favorite weapon in Dead Island 2? Comment below. If you enjoyed the video, maybe hit the subscribe button, and you'll have more videos coming to your inbox soon. And until next time, this is Lockongaming signing off.